Welcome back to the OK Kiteboarder, and after a couple years off from content creation, spent mostly working on my small farm, enjoying time with my family, playing bad golf, and logging way too many hours on a pickleball court. You might be wondering, what could possibly drag me back into making these low quality YouTube videos about wind sports? The answer, the AFS Enduro Hydrofoil range. The question, is this the future of hydrofoiling? Possibly. I mean, sure, hydrofoils have been around since the dawn of time, give or take a few millennia. And while their history has had some less than graceful chapters, and my recall of this history may be less than accurate, well, this hydrofoil, it presents no confusion on the water. And after trying the Enduro at last year's AWSI in Hood River, I knew that I had to get back on it. Now, this video, it's not gonna get super technical. Plenty of folks like Gwen already do a fantastic job at covering those details. This review is for the average inland rider. You know, those of us who launch from not so pristine lake entries and occasionally we wingfoil past cows. And we'll compare today the Enduro to an earlier design from the same foil designer, Laurent Boya. Yes, I probably messed up that pronunciation, but he is the brains behind the Enduro Foil. And then let's see where this range might be utilized across other disciplines as well. So let's dive in. The AFS Enduro comes in the following front wing sizes: 700, 900, 1100, and 1300, all with an aspect ratio of 11. In the following few minutes, let's look at not only the characteristics of each size front wing for winging these inland lake conditions, but also the potential diversification of this lineup into kite foiling, pumping, and para-winging. Now, the setups, they can all be modified with fuselages and stabilizers, but to standardize, in this video, the following combinations will be used. For testing, I use the UHM Carbon 85 centimeter mast, and my mission, well, is to find a foil that glides well, offers solid speed, is playful, and can cross over into different disciplines. So, is the AFS Enduro the Swiss Army knife of foils, or is it just a fancy butter knife? To begin with prioritization, the most frequent wind ranges that I'm riding, they're around that 14 to 22 mile per hour wind range. So this means that I have more of my hours of riding on the 900 and the 1100 front wing setup. And I find these two also to be my favorites in the quiver. The differences are just what you would expect between these two wings, but it's not substantial. The 900, it's more playful. The 1100, it has better glide, but both are moderately agile with great glide. And when I compare these foils against my old mainstay Kujira foils, well, it's no contest. The differences in glide are substantially better with the Enduro, even with a smaller footprint and size. The 900 glides better than the 980, and the 1100 better than the 1210. These Enduro foils, they have lift and glide far larger than their size, while losing just a little bit in the carving category. Look, they're not the fastest hydrofoil that you're going to find on the market. The F1 Eagle X, for instance, it's going to consistently outrun it, but it will feel less stable under your feet. And in my experience, stability and playfulness, well, they're difficult traits to coincide, but the Enduro doesn't feel loose while it still maintains its playfulness. And I have never stalled either the 900 or the 1100 front wing, whether that be on the start or even decelerating completely off a foil down to a board taxi. The foils, they've never slammed down on the water on me. And that's also the case with breaching the wingtip. When winging the 700 front wing, make sure that you have enough wind. And also, no surprise here with the smaller front wing, but this is the only front wing in the lineup that I have stalled on the water start by just not having enough board speed before releasing to come up on foil. Now, once you figure out the start speed, the 700 is also a joy to ride. It's carvy, it's faster, and it's still pretty fantastic glide for a wing of this size. Now, for cross discipline, I was excited to try the 700 front wing for kite foiling under a fly surfer peak. But unfortunately, the high aspect nature of this wing with so much lift and stall at slow speeds is extremely difficult under a kite, especially on a pocket board. Is it doable? Yes, and once up on foil, it feels solid, but it's not a replacement for your current kite foil wing. The final front wing in the lineup, unless you count the new 1600 that Gwen recently brought to the market for dock starting, well, it's the 1300. And so for winging, it is my least favorite of the four. And also, no surprise here is that it has great glide. It's fairly slow. It's the easiest of the four to stay up on foil pumping, but just loses most of the playfulness that I experience with the rest of the Enduro lineup. So where do I see this front wing coming into play? Well, maybe in the early stages of trying to dabble in a little bit of parawinging, which is not ideal with inland lake riding, but maybe with progression in Oklahoma, I can reap those benefits of riding Oklahoma subpar conditions when vacationing in areas like Hood River. The larger 1300 will no doubt lift in more underpowered conditions, and in my case, not just underpowered, but underskilled situations when starting to learn a new discipline. I can also see this as a great option under a foil drive. It's no secret, I'm not a huge fan of motorized hydrofoiling, but it is a huge hit, believe it or not, here in Oklahoma. And it has been a great tool for some initial interest for foiling from my kids. So my opinion is that if you could choose only one setup, I would personally start with the 900 with a 40 stabilizer and the medium fuselage. These hydrofoils, they're not cheap, but their craftsmanship and their performance are second to none. And then as you branch out from there, I would probably add the 1100 if you are just a winger and you're not privy to consistently high wind days. But if you do have a number of high wind days, then I would add the 700. And lastly, if you're a pumper, a foil driver, a downwinder, or a beginner parawinger, then I would add the 1300 to your arsenal. If you want a more carvy ride, switch to a shorter fuselage, and for more glide, go to the medium fuselage. And there's many plug and play combinations that still keep the lineup simple in configurations to fit your riding preference. So my conclusion is this: while the AFS Enduro may not be the full-on Swiss Army knives of hydrofoils, they are my favorite foils for winging. Mainly because my riding style for inland lakes is just not based on aggressive riding, and I'm not a great pumper, and I get great benefit from a wing with great glide. I'm confident that you just can't have it all. High performance foils will lean more carve and agility, or more lift and glide. And if you lean more glide, then these foils are a perfect fit for you. And if you're interested in purchasing an Alien Foil Systems Enduro Hydrofoil setup, well, then reach out to Green Hat Kiteboarding. And we'll see you next back in Hood River for the 2025 AWSI.
Take me to the AWSI 2025, where the wind guards dance and the gear comes alive. Boards and sails, they shimmer and shine. Future's calling, it's my time to glide.